Then you listen to these radical left people talking about it's really okay, you're seeing things, you're really seeing things. So we're going to take care of Chicago, we're going to take care of Portland, we're going to take care of Memphis. We're proud of D.C. There's nothing to take care of anymore, but we're not going to let it ever go bad. It's never going to happen again.
Federal investigators realized the country had entered uncharted territory as soon as the first shocking reports came in. FBI and DEA units had raided an office tied to the defense secretary and uncovered signs of criminal activity at the core of U.S. security. During a 6:12 a.m. check, agents found a hidden steel compartment. Inside were 8.6 lbs of cocaine, a loaded Sig Sauer P320, and $74,000 in cash. The discovery revealed a breach serious enough to endanger millions of American citizens.
But we are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers, Sinaloa, CJNG, MS-13, and more, TDA. 91 tons of drugs have been seized as a result of this task force.
The employee responsible for that office, Senior Policy Advisor Michael R. Hanford, held full logistics clearance, a level of access meant for trusted personnel overseeing military supply movement. That clearance allowed him to enter routing systems, procurement databases, distribution pathways, and classified shipment schedules without raising suspicion. In ordinary circumstances, this type of access exists to protect national defense. Instead, it became the entry point for one of the most dangerous infiltration pipelines ever recorded inside a federal institution.
2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. And as the president said, more than 1,000 illegal guns.
When analysts accessed Hanford's encrypted laptop at Quantico, the tone of the investigation changed within minutes. Hidden behind layered passwords and masked directories were detailed records of 22 covert shipments, each disguised as standard military equipment transfers. The logs showed movement across Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, timed to coincide with legitimate convoys, so the shipments blended seamlessly with normal military flow. Federal investigators quickly understood that the breach had bypassed every traditional safeguard because those safeguards had been overridden from someone with inside clearance.
58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month, thanks to all of these people around the table.
As digital forensics continued, DHS analysts began comparing the routing data with drugs movement across several states. Within hours, the investigation confirmed direct ties to CJNG, one of the most violent and expansion-driven cartels operating globally. What had initially appeared to be a single compromised advisor was revealed as part of a deeper infiltration pattern. Forensic overlays mapped suspicious signatures inside 9 federal agencies, ranging from procurement offices to communications hubs. The infiltration was not isolated, it was systemic. The laptop's first major folder contained 22 routing logs, each with dates, destinations, cargo descriptions, and digital authorizations signed under Hanford's credentials. These logs showed the drug shipments being inserted into real military cargo lists, pairing illegal containers with identical legitimate shipments. Analysts noted that every crate had a twin, a matching item that appeared harmless on paper. This technique allowed the cartel to conceal drugs within federal supply chains without triggering audits or alerts. The next folder was even more alarming. Labeled simply "reliable," it listed 37 federal and state employees spread across multiple agencies. Each employee held a seemingly unimportant role: clerks, procurement assistants, warehouse supervisors, IT contractors. But cross-matching showed each had access to either shipping databases, warehouse check-in systems, or federal seals used for shipment validation. None of the names appeared random, and none reflected coerced employees. They were active, corrupt collaborators positioned strategically at nodes that controlled shipment flow. Folder 3 mapped 14 safe houses across Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, each disguised under legitimate rental identities. Neighbors believed families or retirees lived in the homes. In reality, these locations housed CJNG couriers and technicians who operated quietly inside residential neighborhoods. The homes were stocked with forged labels, routing equipment, encrypted radios, and concealed drugs storage systems. Every address lay within easy reach of primary shipping routes, ensuring the network could redistribute shipments rapidly. With these three folders combined, investigators saw something far darker than an internal leak. Early intelligence assessments described the breach as a structural failure, meaning the cartel had not simply corrupted individuals, it had built a parallel system inside federal infrastructure, one that used U.S. defense mechanisms to mask cartel operations. This revelation forced agencies into a security posture normally reserved for foreign adversaries or wartime intelligence threats. By the next morning, federal command centers issued a directive that signaled the seriousness of the breach. All identified targets across the affected states were to be neutralized simultaneously. The goal was simple: prevent any chance of coordinated escape or destruction of digital evidence. At 5 a.m., operations began in 4 primary zones: Virginia, Houston, the California desert, and the Norfolk port. Within minutes, teams moved in complete silence under sealed protocols. The mobilization included FBI HRT, DEA FAST, DHS SRT, U.S. Marshals, and multiple state SWAT divisions. More than 24 tactical groups launched the country's largest internal infiltration takedown since 9/11. Trucks, surveillance vans, thermal drones, armored entry vehicles, and air support units were deployed without public notice. To avoid leaks, even local field offices were only briefed seconds before movement. In Virginia, the first target was a 2-story home identified as one of the safe houses. Thermal imaging detected 5 armed men inside, confirming the location was active. Agents breached the door at 5:03 a.m., immediately encountering rifle fire from the staircase. Federal teams responded with controlled shots, neutralizing the threat in under 1 minute. Inside the pantry and bedroom closets, agents discovered 28 kili of meth and stacks of forged military shipping labels, establishing the house as a functioning logistics cell. Meanwhile, operations escalated rapidly in Texas. At a steel warehouse outside Houston, a convoy-ready MRAP rammed the eye. Garage door, triggering a gunfight as cartel riflemen fired from elevated catwalks. Agents advanced in tight formation, using steel pillars as cover while pushing deeper into the warehouse. Within 4 minutes, the area was secure. Inside, investigators uncovered 118 rifles, 7 machine guns, and 42 kg of cocaine packaged inside crates labeled as auto parts. Farther west, in a remote pocket of the California desert, 3 CJNG operatives attempted to escape the moment surveillance drones descended. The suspects fled in a black SUV across uneven ground, generating massive dust plumes behind them. DHS helicopters moved in from the south, forcing the SUV to stop. The suspects abandoned the vehicle and ran, but tactical teams reached them without firing a single round. Recovered equipment inside the SUV included encrypted radios, forged IDs, and routing templates linked to the Pentagon breach. Just before sunrise on the East Coast, agents at Norfolk Port intercepted 6 containers bearing forged federal seals that would have entered the East Coast narcotics pipeline within hours. Inside, investigators found chemical precursors used for pill conversion, stacks of packaged narcotics, and cash bundles prepared for distribution. Preventing those containers from moving forward likely saved thousands of American lives, halting a wave of overdoses that would have hit multiple cities simultaneously. By the end of the coordinated raids, federal teams had seized drugs, weapons, forged documentation, and routing systems confirming the full reach of the network. The operation halted 3,800 arrests across all regions, revealing the scale of infiltration that had penetrated government systems. For many agents, the most disturbing realization was that these locations represented only one operational branch. The network was wider, smarter, and more deeply rooted than anyone expected when the first steel compartment was opened inside the Pentagon. This investigation underscored a reality federal agencies rarely confront. The threat was not just external. It had taken shape inside American institutions, blending into ordinary procedures and exploiting the very systems built to defend the nation. And as federal teams examined the evidence gathered in these early raids, they understood that the coming weeks would reveal even more locations, more compromised officials, and more attempts to hide inside government channels. By the time federal raids concluded across Virginia, Texas, California, and the Norfolk port, the scale of the criminal infrastructure hiding inside American institutions became undeniable. The day's seizures amounted to 2.1 tons of narcotics, a combination of fentanyl, cocaine, meth, and heroin valued at over $240 million. Investigators noted that this single-day seizure represented enough lethal doses to kill several million Americans, a fact that immediately reframed the breach as more than a corruption scandal. It was a mass casualty, threat prevented at the last possible moment. weapons recovered across all operational zones painted an equally troubling picture. Agents seized 221 firearms, including rifles, carbines, and suppressed machine guns. Many of the weapons traced directly back to military supply contractors, an indication that fake procurement channels were being used to pull equipment from defense inventories and redirect it into cartel logistics. Several recovered serial numbers matched items listed as decommissioned, suggesting someone inside procurement chains had been manipulating records to conceal ongoing theft. Digital forensics teams working overnight uncovered an additional shock. Backups recovered from seized laptops, routers, and hard drives contained 14 years of encrypted communications, routing instructions, cryptocurrency payments, and offshore transfers moving between Mexico City, Guatemala, and Colombia. These files revealed the network was not an improvisation. It had been cultivated gradually, recruiting insiders, studying federal routines, and creating a hidden layer beneath legitimate processes. Every year, the network stayed unnoticed. It grew more confident, more sophisticated, and more willing to plant operatives deeper into the federal system. As agents followed the digital trail, they uncovered evidence of tunnel systems stretching across multiple states. Many of the locations featured blast doors, concealed ventilation systems, climate-controlled narcotic storage, and radio equipment similar to ex-military field communications. The construction quality indicated trained professionals, not street-level operatives. These tunnels were designed to function for years without detection, feeding product into distribution corridors while avoiding traditional border or checkpoint pressure. Federal teams processing this evidence understood quickly that the seizures were not just victories. They were indicators of how deeply the infiltration had already penetrated American systems. Each discovery revealed another hidden mechanism working right beneath the surface, protected not by evasion but by weaponized access. As the seizures were cataloged, internal failures began erupting across agencies. The first signs appeared in Maryland, where a logistics clerk linked to routing irregularities attempted to flee his office the moment investigators arrived. Cameras showed him sprinting into the parking garage, abandoning his vehicle, and leaving behind a backpack containing burner phones and $9,800 in cash. His workstation had been wiped minutes earlier, confirming he acted on advance warning from another compromised contact. In Denver, 2 federal contractors tried to force access into a secured server closet moments after seeing investigators on their floor. Their goal: destroy or corrupt routing logs tied to the federal financial corridor. When they swiped restricted badges that did not belong to them, the system triggered a silent alarm. Agents intercepted both men before they reached the main server racks. Later analysis of their accounts revealed unexplained deposits stretching back 8 months, each aligning with cartel payment cycles. The most alarming attempt to destroy evidence occurred in Tampa, where a senior communications technician barricaded himself inside a secure terminal room. Before agents breached the door, he managed to sever fiber lines, smash multiple encrypted devices, and attempt an unauthorized download of a classified routing matrix onto a personal drive. When tactical units finally entered, he shouted warnings that others were already cleaning up loose ends, a statement that worried command teams far more than the damage itself. His fingerprints were later linked to packaging found inside the seized Norfolk containers. If you believe Americans deserve these investigations to continue, like, comment, and subscribe, because what happened next revealed what investigators uncovered. Once the underground routes, forged identities, and concealed financial corridors were fully decoded. Across all 3 incidents, evidence pointed to the same conclusion. CJ&G had infiltrated 9 federal agencies, embedding operatives inside logistics divisions, procurement departments, communications units, shipping control centers, and clearance offices. These were not random employees. They were individuals positioned to disrupt investigations, reroute shipments, fabricate documentation, or erase evidence with a few keystrokes. The infiltration was broad, deliberate, and undeniably coordinated. As these confrontations escalated, federal leadership initiated emergency measures. On Friday at 9:15 a.m., leaders from the FBI, DHS, DOJ, DOD, ATF, ICE, and multiple state agencies convened inside a secure conference room in Washington. Maps, timelines, and threat assessments covered the walls. For the first time, senior officials viewed the entire network in one consolidated briefing. The assessment was grim. The cartel had not chipped through the perimeter. It had walked through open doors created by compromised insiders. The response came in the form of a new unit, the Federal Integrity Restoration Task Force, FIRTF, established with emergency authority to rebuild clearance processes, audit every sensitive access point, and dismantle infiltrated networks layer by layer. This task force was designed to act without the bureaucratic delays that often slowed interagency investigations, allowing rapid intervention wherever the network remained active. The first FireTF operation focused on financial reconstruction. Over 641 financial accounts were frozen within 48 hours, including accounts hidden inside humanitarian aid funds, veterans grants, and energy subsidies. On paper, these accounts appeared harmless, even charitable. In reality, they were being used to move money quietly through trusted public-facing channels. The freezing of these accounts shut down millions in operational capital, crippling the network's financial backbone. As analysts overlaid financial records, shipping logs, communications data, and seized documents, a comprehensive map began to form. The final visualization stretched across dozens of state offices, 9 federal agencies, and hundreds of private sector partners unknowingly connected to cartel operations. Trucking businesses, repair shops, data centers, small manufacturers, and logistics firms all appeared on the map, many with no concept that their systems were being used to mask illegal movement. Back inside federal command centers, analysts realized something more troubling than the scale of the network. The pattern revealed a strategy built on substitution, not infiltration alone. Every time a compromised employee was promoted, transferred, or retired, another operative immediately filled the gap. Every time an agency tightened oversight, forms, and protocols shifted to adapt. The network had grown around federal systems like a secondary skeleton, one designed to survive pressure, audits, and political turnover. This raised a disturbing question. How many years had the infiltration gone unnoticed, and how many parallel networks were still operating beneath the surface? As the federal government moved to rebuild compromised systems, agencies suspended entire divisions pending audits. Defense transportation corridors were remapped. Clearance protocols were rewritten from the ground up. Communications channels were restructured to prevent single-point failures. Procurement systems that had been untouched for decades now faced sweeping reviews. Every institution touched by the network was forced to examine how trust had been used as a weapon. In communities across the country, the public response grew sharper each day. Families affected by fentanyl overdoses demanded answers. Veterans questioned how military-grade weapons funneled into civilian neighborhoods. Local officials faced scrutiny as investigators traced shipments directly into towns that had been overwhelmed by cartel violence. The revelations sparked a national debate about internal vulnerability and the need to reinforce structures long assumed secure. Yet, despite the shock, one truth emerged. The nation had recognized the threat before it reached irreversible scale. The raids, seizures, and arrests prevented further damage, protected countless American families, and exposed a hidden enemy using the country's own infrastructure against it. The crisis revealed the fragility of institutions, but also their strength when confronted with undeniable evidence. The breach inside U.S. defense agencies was not simply a scandal. It was a turning point, forcing a nationwide reckoning with the systems meant to safeguard the public. And as investigators worked through the final layers of seized documents, communication logs, and financial pathways, one conclusion became unavoidable. The battle is far from over, and the full truth may still yet be hidden beneath yet another layer of this engineered network.